Welcome or welcome back. I'm Dr. Margaret. I am delighted so many of you have been watching these episodes, and I've loved reading and responding to your comments, so I hope they keep coming in. The trait we're going to cover today is that you may have an accompanying mental health issue, such as an eating disorder, panic disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, or addiction, as well as perfectly hidden depression. When I thought about what I believed were the major characteristics of the syndrome of perfectly hidden depression, the clinician part of me began to get concerned. I didn't want anyone to think, well, now I've got it all figured out. I have perfectly hidden depression. Perfectly hidden depression isn't something you have. It's not a mental illness. I think of it as a syndrome, when beliefs and behaviors tend to gather and form a way of living. Where you find one belief or behavior, you'll find another, kind of like salt and pepper or red hair and freckles. So you don't have it like you'd have a cold. Your beliefs and ensuing behaviors have gathered together to create some rules for your life. And those rules have formed a fairly rigid list of musts and shoulds and have-tos, along with the must-nots, should-nots, and would never consider doings, absolutes that govern your behavior. And the intent of those rules may not be completely clear to you. In taking apart perfectly hidden depression and looking at each of its primary 10 traits, and frankly, there could be more, we're trying to challenge and maybe even dismantle those absolutes. Now, as I've said before, these traits aren't unhealthy in and of themselves. They're unhealthy because of the inflexible form they take in your mind and heart and behavior. So let's get back to the clinician part of me. I didn't want anyone to stop at, well, I have perfectly hidden depression, and not realize that they're perhaps struggling with other mental health conditions that could be greatly impacting them. Usually, these disorders are going to be ones that involve some struggle with control. It could be about intense need to look in control and hide actual poor self-esteem, which is at the base of many eating disorders, or needing something else to help calm your anxiety, such as in substance abuse, or having a more traditional struggle with generalized anxiety, social anxiety, and/or obsessive compulsive disorder, all anxiety disorders that have their own symptom profile, but they could be mixed in with perfectly hidden depression. However, if you struggle to be around people socially, meaning in a less structured environment than work or school, that could be social anxiety. If you have thoughts that roll over and over in your mind and you struggle to stop them or divert your attention, so much so that you're compelled to do certain behaviors to quell your anxiety, that could be obsessive compulsive disorder. Or if you have visualizations during the day about terrible things happening to those you love, those aren't perfectly hidden depression. That could be generalized anxiety disorder. They're all anxiety disorders. They qualify as mental illnesses because they interrupt and get in the way of you living your life happily. So please, go talk with a mental health professional if any of that is happening to you. Yet the traits of perfectly hidden depression can accompany or ride side saddle with some of these official anxiety disorders. For example, not wanting to be vulnerable with others, a trait of perfectly hidden depression, goes along quite nicely with social anxiety and wanting to withdraw. Generalized anxiety disorder, involving having horrible thoughts about a doomed future, could lead to a sense of increased pressure to do things perfectly, so the dreaded events don't occur. And then there are many connections between obsessive compulsive disorder and perfectly hidden depression, because there's a right way to do things and a definitely wrong way to do things for both. So you can hear and see how the traits of perfectly hidden depression and other clinically official anxiety disorders can coexist. I haven't talked about panic disorder here, and I should. Probably a lot of people with perfectly hidden depression have experienced panic, a sudden rush of adrenaline and cortisol that your brain sends out because it senses danger. The problem is that there isn't any real danger. Certainly those with perfectly hidden depression that fear others discovering that their perfect seeming veneer is just that, a veneer, can have real panic when considering the idea that they might be found out. So please look into these potential options. Perhaps you only have perfectly hidden depression, but don't discount the potential reality of these other struggles. Until next time, take very, very good care.